Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbies and Kens, Chelseas of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my wonderful co-host. Don't worry, little dolphin, you're gonna make me a lot of money. Jay!
Hey!
For those of you just joining us, we are a podcast about Barbie movies. Every week, we watch one of the straight-to-DVD animated Barbie movies, and we rate its story, characters, animation, voice acting, and music to see how it stacks up. This week, we'll be talking about the 36th animated Barbie movie, Barbie Dolphin Magic.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. It was released September 18, 2017 on Netflix. They switched distributors after the last one. It used to be Universal was putting out just the DVDs. Now it's Netflix puts out the movie on Netflix, and then I believe there's also still DVDs of all of these recent ones, or most of them.
Perhaps.
I believe those are still handled by Universal. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. But yeah, we just watched the Netflix one because that's easy enough.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is an interesting one because this is sort of a cutoff point. Because after this movie, they stopped making new animated Barbie movies for 3 years. So it wasn't until 2020 that they brought back Barbie movies. They were focus shifted to the Dreamhouse Adventures TV show on Netflix,
That makes sense.
which I haven't seen any of it. I'm curious to see if it's any good.
Well, whatever it is, it's not Life in the Dream House.
Yeah, if it is at all similar to Life in the Dream House, I think it might be fun, but I suspect it's more of a standard, a bit less chaotic.
Slice of life.
Yeah,
Some puppies here and there.
probably.
Moral lessons instead of just chaotic stuff that happens.
I mean, there's moral lessons in Life in the Dream House, like don't switch your robot switch to evil, because then he'll trap you in your closet.
And if you're gonna do a lemonade stand, market research.
And then sell it off the minute you can, and then
Bankrupt them.
let the person who bought it from you just run it into the ground.
We've been having fun with that show.
Yeah, I think here's my theory on this movie, because I don't know, something about it feels a little less big than a lot of these other Barbie movies. Like, it's barely over an hour long.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel that same sort of drive in it. And I do kind of wonder if, like, since Mattel was at this point shifting focus, if that's kind of like, this is kind of like, okay, they were long enough in pre-production that they had to, like, finish the movie or it would be a sunk cost. But everyone's kind of like thinking of the next phase and the next project as they're working on this.
So this is like an in-between.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the same sort of thing happened with ponies. Like after the G4 show ended, while they were preparing for G5, they released a small little thing in between that's not really great, but it was just something to have in between. So
Yeah.
sometimes they'll do something like that.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure what the production for this looks like. We'll have to get into it a little bit because the character models look a bit like the Arc Productions character models, which,
Yeah.
as we know, Rainmaker, which is the studio that made most of the Barbie movies, took over production on Puppy Chase after Arc Productions went bankrupt. So part of me wonders if this was also tied up in that. But then they, like, these are the same character models that they then go on to use in the Dreamhouse Adventures TV show.
They probably just got the assets from the company and
Yeah,
reused them.
yeah. I'm curious as to like what the behind the scenes looked like for this one more than any other of these Barbie movies because it feels like it's things are shifting and stuff is moving around,
Hmm.
and then maybe the movie on top of it isn't quite as interesting as the behind the scenes stuff might be.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, this is directed by Conrad Helton, he's been around for a very long time, still making these. And it's written by Jennifer Skelly, who's most known for being a writer for kids' TV shows. She wrote an episode of My Little Pony.
Yeah, it was an okay episode. It
Yeah, we
was
have
it was fine. It was better, but
okay,
it was still okay. Obviously, a new writer who doesn't really know all these characters, but it was still fine.
okay. Yeah, we have art direction by Alexandra Kavalova, who's
Mm.
we've talked a bit about her before, and then music by Rebecca Newble.
Hmm.
This is her last Barbie movie.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, we'll get into the score. I think the score itself works, but some of the song choices don't.
Hmm.
But yeah, the story this time around, Barbie and her sisters are visiting an island. Is this the same one as Puppy Chase? Is it a different one? Who knows? And Ken, he's working as an assistant to a marine biologist named Marlowe.
Mm.
And while out snorkeling, Barbie and her sisters and Ken, they come across this like mysterious creature that they only catch a glimpse of, and then they follow it to this research facility that Ken is working at. And inside this enclosure, they find a strange green dolphin, and
Yeah.
they're wondering if it's this like magical gemstone dolphin. And they try and free it, but Marlowe shows up and stops them and tells them that the dolphin is sick, and there's a vet coming the next day to look at it.
Hmm.
Um, they, Barbie and everyone leave, but then the dogs run off, and they encounter a mermaid named Isla, who was the creature that everyone had seen and followed over. And Isla is a friend of the captured dolphin, um, and so she turns into a human to try and free him, but is interrupted when Barbie comes back to look for the puppies. And Barbie explains the situation, and Isla decides to stay with Barbie for the night, not initially revealing that she's a mermaid.
Right.
And then, yeah, the next day, Barbie and Isla are spending time together. They're in the water, and Isla accidentally turns back into a mermaid. And Barbie is impressed by this,
Of
but
course.
promises not to tell anyone.
Uh.
Meanwhile, Stacy and Chelsea they notice this helicopter that's landing by the research facility, and they check it out. And the logo is for a traveling carnival.
Mm.
So it turns out Marlowe had been planning to sell the dolphin to the carnival to make a ton of money. So Barbie convinces Ken to open the enclosure, but he can't remember the code. So they have to find a way to steal the code from Marlowe, and it's like on this device. So they do this like whole heist to get it. Um, but Marlowe catches on and stops them before they can let the dolphins go. So using a magic necklace, Barbie and Isla team up, and they're able to guide the dolphins through this cave system that connects to the enclosure, which if the enclosure has a cave system that is connected to it, I don't know how much of an enclosure it is. But anyway,
Yeah.
they're sort of in the open ocean now, running away. Marlowe flies after them in a helicopter, and she spots Isla and decides that a mermaid would be even better than a gemstone dolphin. But Barbie is able to quickly use some seaweed to disguise herself as a mermaid, and Marlowe captures her instead of Isla. And then the owner of the carnival is just like, nah, I'm done here. And Marlowe presumably has her comeuppance, and Isla and the dolphins go free.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty basic.
Yeah, it's a like classic save the sea mammal plot.
Yeah, like my first one of my first notes here is Finding Nemo and then Free Willy.
Yep. I think I have those two exact same notes.
It's and that's the story right there. Sure, we get a mermaid in there, a little bit of
Yep.
H2O references, but still.
Yeah. It's definitely very sort of standard plot here.
Something we've
But
seen so many times.
yeah, I will say though, like this movie is very short,
Yeah.
and so even though it's a very standard story, I think it moves along quickly enough that I was never bored.
For me, it slowed down after Isla met Barbie and they just were hanging out for an entire day.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that stuff, so I wasn't.
Sure, but I got to a point where I was like, man, like, what does this have to do with saving a dolphin? They're just hanging out, eating marshmallows. Sure, some funny bits, but like, come on, there's a dolphin.
Yeah, I do think if you were to like cut out all of the unnecessary stuff and just have like what's just necessary for the plot, this movie would be like 35 minutes.
Yeah, the unnecessary stuff would be good for like an episode of a show,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It just for me while watching it, I just kind of didn't really care much when that was happening. I was like, oh, well, the dolphin, it needs help. The poor little baby.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was just kind of like the movie is constantly sort of threatening to go in more interesting directions. So at the start, we have Stacy. Her leg is in a boot because she sprained her ankle. So they
Yeah.
have this like rear window thing where she's spying on everything with binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been fun to do like a rear window, but with like a dolphin and a mermaid instead of a killer and a lady who got killed.
But nothing really much happens from that.
No, yeah. She gets her boot off and that's like nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
So that's like one plot they could have followed that they did it. But then there's also like Ken's allegiances here because they don't want Ken to like once he finds out Marlowe is bad, they don't want to be like have any sort of ambiguity of whose side he's on. But if you had a bit of ambiguity there, you could play around with things a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of like maybe he's torn between Marlowe and Barbie. And he's like, well, Marlowe's usually a nice person. She probably has the. But no, it's just like unambiguously as soon as he finds out
Or it's like,
Marlowe's.
man, my girlfriend is interfering with my job. Like, what do I do? Help my girlfriend or save my job?
Important note: Barbie refers to Ken as her best friend. They are not dating in this movie.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into that a bit later when we talk about characters. But
Sure. No, I read your note.
and then even just this like the mini heist to get the device away from Marlowe. Like, imagine if that had been the whole third act of the movie was like a heist, rather than just like that being 2 minutes of it.
Right.
Like Ocean's 11, but it's a literal ocean, and the characters involved are 11.
Here's the thing. The question. So Barbie shows up to this research facility, sees a dolphin inside the cage, and it's like, huh, this dolphin don't look sick. I'm gonna set it free. Even though she has, it's like, well, clearly this is not your station, Barbie. Too, there's procedures. There's maybe some paperwork behind about why this dolphin may be there. But no, she assumes that the dolphin shouldn't be there and decides to set it free. When she's caught, she's like, "Oh no, we weren't going to open the gate. We were just going to let the dolphin go free." That's uh what?
Yeah, I mean, there is this idea in like certain stories, especially stories aimed at like young kids, of like the protagonist just sort of automatically knowing what the right thing to do is, even if it's
Yeah.
not apparent in the situation, or like who to trust, who not to trust. But yeah, there isn't really a logical, like, Barbie should know better. We know she's been a vet. Like, there could be any number of
Well,
reasons the
maybe not in
dolphin is
this
in there.
continuity. I don't know.
Yeah. Are they all the same continuity? Anyway, it's like there could be any number of reasons like the dolphin is there that are perfectly explainable.
Mm-hmm. There's also no security.
Oh yeah, no. There are two people who work there, and one is Ken, and Ken is the intern.
Yeah. Interesting. Why is Ken an intern there?
I don't know, because they needed a reason for him to be there for the plot to work out.
I guess.
There's a lot of conveniences in this plot, which, to be fair, it's over in an hour, so I'm not going to begrudge it too much.
Sure, yeah.
Like I'd rather they take those conveniences than like spend 20 minutes explaining everything. But it is still like it does raise questions.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't much to talk about besides those questions for this movie. Like the story is there.
It's
I don't know.
there. It
The
does
the
what it
last
does.
the last few movies, you've been very like ambivalent about, and I've been more like finding elements that I like. This one I'm more on your side now of just like I can't find anything in here that is interesting to latch on to.
To be fair, it has been some weeks for us.
Yes. And I think it's just like this what this movie is there's less to latch on to.
Yeah.
Because like with Puppy Chase I was latching on to sort of the Barbie characterization, which I thought was interesting. And then Video Game Hero was more the like I don't know, that's just an interesting one. Whereas this one it's like the visuals are neat, the plot kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
Ken has some nice pink swim trunks. Like that's all my takeaways from this.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's not quite like Puppy Chase for me where there's no plot going on, but it's still you can play this in the background and not miss anything.
Oh yeah, it was a struggle for me not to pull my phone out.
Uh-huh.
I had to. I think I had to exile it to the other side of the room.
Oh.
I've been doing that more recently. I've been watching Buster Keaton movies
Mm.
because a podcast I listen to, Blank Check, is potentially covering him next. So I'm either preparing very well for when they cover him, or I am watching the wrong director's movies. But anyway, they're all silent films, so it's like if I look at my phone, I miss the plot. But there's always that like temptation to just like, oh, I just got a notification, got to check. So I just exile my phone to the other side of the room while I
Yeah.
watch them.
Here it's like they're at the station, you can look away, you come back and they're singing a song with coconuts.
The coconut song was cute.
Sure. Not sure what it was doing there, but sure.
Yeah, it has more relevance to the story than the crab that's constantly stealing stuff.
See, I did not notice the crab until the very end of the film. Like during the credits, where the crab, they show the crab in the credits. I'm like, uh, what's this? Was this crab doing something the entire time? I did what?
Yes. Throughout the movie, they keep cutting to the crab just randomly stealing stuff.
Well, I didn't see that then.
That was the whole like Stacy. That's what she was watching with her binoculars.
Oh well, those must have been the moments where I blinked.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's not something that stands out much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I gave the story a 3 out of 5. That's maybe a bit generous. I don't know. The story works, but it isn't all that interesting.
Yeah, I also give it a 3 out of 5. It kind of feels a little bit low, but I again, it's just something we've seen so many times, but done better.
Yeah. And even like there are more interesting directions they could have taken it at multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Like give me Rear Window with Stacy as
Yeah,
the photographer.
and there's no sense of like, what, a mermaid? The film just opens up and there's a mermaid. It's like, oh, okay, this is normal.
I was seeing apparently it the way the mermaid, like the necklace is similar to the necklace in Mermaid Tale.
Yeah,
Like this is a takes place in the same world or something.
or something. Why not?
Yeah. Anyway, on to the characters. We've got Barbie.
She's Barbie.
She is Barbie. I think the most interesting thing about her is that there's something going on between her and Isla. They share some close personal moments. And I think
Sure.
especially now that they're like, no, Ken is Barbie's best friend, not boyfriend.
Also, the very last scene with him at the end.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the most telling. Because before you can make an argument, there it's like,
They're
huh,
they're kind of Legend of Korra in it, of like
yeah,
walk up to the line without actually crossing it.
yeah,
I don't know
or
how
properly
intentional it
setting it up.
is.
But
Yeah.
still,
Yeah. It would be an interesting thing for one of these movies to actually like dive into having like a gay Barbie character,
but
but
it's breaking the Barbie mythos. Oh my gosh, all those parents would be so mad.
the parents would be
Mattel would
that
go
I,
bankrupt.
I don't know if it's quite messing with the mythos. You could do it with Ken. There was a Ken doll that they released that was accidentally gay because they had him with like a single earring and it was in the like because yeah there was an interesting story
Yeah.
behind that.
Speaking of gay, we have Isla.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's sort of the fish out of water stock character, but yeah, I think what is interesting about her is her relationship with Barbie, and that's what's interesting about Barbie as well, because there is this like distrust or like the tug and pull between trust and distrust,
Mm-hmm.
which is more something that they say than rather than like display as characters.
Yeah.
Because like Isla is like, I don't trust anyone, and then at no point in the movie does she not trust the people around her.
Mm-hmm.
So
Barbie's really untrustworthy. She's like, "Oh, I won't tell anyone." Immediately tells her sisters. It's like, "Oh no, it's my sisters. We tell it.
to to
We
be
tell them
fair,
everything."
Isla specifically said don't tell Marlo.
But still,
Still,
Barbie
it is
should not.
yeah,
Like even still, even if you tell your sisters everything, a secret's still a secret.
yeah. The mermaid thing she does keep hush hush about, which I think is.
Sure, yeah,
But yeah, you could have easily spun that off into like a plot line.
yeah. I thought it was weird whenever we got to the point where Isla's like, I can't trust any of you, and I'm gonna run away because my dolphin. No. And then they solved that. Apparently, I didn't notice.
Yeah, she comes back. It's yeah, it's like I appreciate that this movie is an hour long, but there are so many more interesting ways it could have played out.
Or just don't play that out at all.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. the character never bothered me, but I do kind of like, and her chemistry with Barbie is very good in the way they interact with each other, even without sort of reading romance into it. It's still a very like it's a fun relationship, but
Mm, yeah.
yeah, just neither character is particularly interesting as a character. And then we have usually I've been separating these up to talk about each individually, but here it doesn't seem like we have to. We have Stacy, Chelsea, and Skipper.
Yeah.
They're filling the same roles that they always do.
Stacy
Stacy,
got depowered for a little bit, but she
yep.
gets that solved.
Yeah. Again, you could have done something interesting with Stacy being like trapped and like with the binoculars. Like, does she see something? And then because she can't get to Barbie, you could like mine some drama from that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's just like, oh, she saw a crab seal some stuff, then she saw the dolphin, and then she went to go and see the dolphin, but Barbie was already there. And then she got the boot off, and that's the end of that plot line.
That's the end of that. Yeah.
Skipper wants to like update her photo blog. That doesn't really factor into anything.
Yeah. I didn't really
Chelsea
know what she was doing
Chelsea is once again just like
there.
being Chelsea,
Yeah.
being the younger sister. They don't even really give her many moments of like she's not able to do things her older sisters are doing. She's just kind of in the background.
Yeah, they also once again got rid of her pigtails.
Yeah. So yeah, next up is Ken.
He's fine.
He might be the most disappointing to me because he's just not goofy enough here.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of it has to do with his character model, where
Oh yeah.
before he's been a bit like
He's
goofier.
so normal looking here.
Yeah.
It's like I look at him and it's like he just looks like 20 other guys I see every day when I go to university. Like here's what I wrote down. Generic anime blonde pretty boy.
Yeah, exactly. He has no interesting features that make him stand out.
Mhm.
Like he has pink swim trunks and that's it.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like there. And
Mhm.
like I I I want to go back. Actually, I don't ever want to go back and watch this, but if I did, I would pay attention because he is played by Adrian Petru, who's played Ken in Fashion Fairy Tale and Fairy Secret, which
Really?
are my favorite Kens. And those are the Kens that I think strike that perfect like goofy but lovable, like exactly what I want to see from Ken.
Hmm.
Whereas here it's like, yeah, he just feels very like normal.
It's
Or
probably a scripting
yeah.
issue.
Yeah, I think partially scripting. I think part of it is honestly just the character design.
Yeah,
Because
no,
when you think about like how he acts during the heist, where he's like haphazardly trying to distract Marlowe and not quite pulling it off,
mhm.
like that's a classic Ken thing. But it doesn't he doesn't read as goofy because of the character model.
Yeah, no, I looked at him and thought, he doesn't really look like a Ken.
Actually, he maybe looks too much like a Ken.
Uh,
Like he looks like a Ken doll. Like more like a Ken doll than like Fairy Secret Ken.
maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, my head canon is that he is also gay in this one since he and Barbie aren't dating anymore.
Sure. We also got
Why
Marlowe.
not? Marlo? Oh, she's definitely gay. But she is also just kind of like a standard villain.
Mhm.
Like here's where I get into my like the thing about Ken's allegiances. You could have built something around what if Marlowe's motivation isn't entirely selfish?
I want money.
what if it's like, I want to take this dolphin to research in the lab.
This dolphin is a special species, has to be recorded,
For science.
dissected, and all that scientific
Maybe
stuff.
maybe you don't say dissected because it's a Barbie movie, but like have something where like she isn't so unambiguously evil, and then you can play Ken's inner turmoil of like where his allegiance is. Like you can play that more if Marlowe isn't selfishly motivated.
Yeah, because we've had so many evil characters for the sake of being evil in these
Yeah.
films.
What if Marlowe's just like relatively stand up and like morally,
Good. And the
yeah,
conflict is more so the ethical nature of taking a dolphin out of the ocean.
yeah. And then you can even have the redemption arc for Marlowe.
Yeah, sure.
Because I mean that's what you do if the character's not fully evil in one of these
Right.
Barbie movies.
Yeah.
But that gives you something. That's the thing with this movie is I'm like looking for something to make it more
hmm
interesting. Just like one of these little threads, if they had just taken it a tiny bit further, then that would be like something to latch onto and like say this is interesting. But no, this just kind of is like, and that's where I go back to like, I wonder if this was, this is the last Barbie movie that they're doing for a while, and everyone's kind of like they're antsy to start the next project, so they're just kind of finishing this one. Maybe don't have enough drafts of the script. They just kind of say, okay, we'll go with what we have. Characters
Maybe
haven't
the
quite been fleshed out.
maybe the script included more puppy talk, but they cut that out.
We can talk about the puppies because they are technically characters. I was so happy that they didn't talk.
Honestly, they had no reason to be there.
Oh yeah, no. But I would prefer they be here and have no reason to be here and not talk than to have a subplot and talk.
I don't really care if they talk or not, but they're just there.
They are, yeah. Yeah, this is one like it's also the title is not Barbie and her sisters either, and that feels accurate to like where the focus is.
I guess. But it's weird when you watch all these films in order and the puppies aren't talking.
Yeah. No, it took me a while to be like, wait a second, I was bracing for when the puppies were gonna start talking, and then they never did.
To be fair, none of the Airbud movies had Airbud speaking until the Airbuddies came in, the puppies.
Okay. So this is the reverse, except
Yes.
the puppies have now grown up enough that they can no longer speak.
As God intended.
We're getting back to. Do you remember those like first few Barbie movies where it was always ambiguous of like who could understand the animals?
Yeah.
And it's like, are the animals talking to the humans or just themselves? Now we're getting back into that, but now it's just like, oh no, now the animals can't even. Although, do the dolphins talk to each other?
They go, hey.
Oh yeah, no, they don't. They don't have speaking lines because they're mostly underwater.
Mm-hmm.
It's communicated visually. That's why it was.
And
See,
through
this is the
dolphin
problem.
screech.
This is the problem with watching too many Buster Keaton movies. Is now I'm like, silent characters now have dialogue to me because I am interpreting their actions as equivalent to dialogue.
Hmm. Anyway, I gave the characters a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I also gave them a 3 out of 5.
Nothing really stand out. They're basic. They do their job.
Yeah, except for Ken, he abandons his job to
Yeah.
help his best friend, which was probably the right thing to do. Anyway, on to the animation.
Animation.
This this is the thing that confuses me, is that this looks more like an Arc Productions movie than a Rainmaker movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're right that there may be reusing the Arc Productions assets,
Yeah.
because those would be the most recent. Because the video game Hero only had the Barbie and the Chelsea models, so it would make sense. Actually, I think video game Hero might have used the same models as well.
Yeah, because I think that's the one where Chelsea didn't have her pigtails, and I was really confused.
Okay, so yeah, maybe they just switched over at a certain point, and
Well,
that
those
wasn't.
assets have to go somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Which, yeah, I mean, that was something I was noticing, is that a lot of these more recent movies are credited to Marvel, not Marvel, Mattel Productions or Creations or something.
Mm,
So I think that's who owns it, and then they're like, "Hey, Rainmaker, here's our digital models that the other studio made. Could you make a movie with these?"
sure, why not?
Yeah, I think the quality of it is very good.
Yeah, it's fine. I think where it really looks good is the underwater scenes,
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
that's where the lighting comes in.
yeah,
Anywhere else, it just looks fine,
yeah. The underwater stuff, they really should have had more underwater stuff.
or just more lighting in
Or
general.
yeah, reminded me, of course, of Avatar: The Way of Water, because that's been on my mind. And all of these Barbie movies take place underwater, so that's always the connection I'm making.
But yeah, the underwater scenes are beautiful. They look
Did
great.
Did you notice the cameos from the moray eel from
Very quickly,
Pearl
yes.
Princess was in it? There were a few others that I don't think I noted down.
That was the main one I saw. Yeah,
Yeah, one of the fish from Mermaid Tale 2, I think, was in it as well.
maybe.
And the song they were using is from a different movie.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But yeah, I think everything is very good.
Hmm.
Um, these are, we've gotten to the point where it's like these movies look good, like as a baseline. We're no longer seeing the like, because Princess and the Pauper we love, it does not look good. Like for the time it came out, it's fine, but
Sure.
it watching it today, it's like, oh yeah, that you can see the like clipping and the technical limitations. Whereas now we've gotten to the point where they're that's less obvious,
Yeah.
and
Now
they've
what
stylized enough
separates good from okay is lighting.
lighting, and also I'm gonna say creativity of the framing of shots and the angles and the editing and the character models,
Sure.
which I felt was missing a bit here. It I don't know, it just felt like they were doing more standard camera setups and camera movements than some of the better Barbie movies.
The teeth are still iffy.
They're better, but yeah, they are still an issue.
Uh huh.
Um, we talked a lot about Ken. Ken needs to be better.
It just needs to be better.
Yeah, he should be. I don't know. I wish this movie were more interesting in a lot of ways, and I wish his character were more interesting as well,
Mm-hmm.
both in design and in purpose in the story.
Right.
But yeah, with all of that in mind, I gave the animation a 4 out of 5. It's not as high as I've given some of these that I've looked this good, but
Yeah. Mine is still on the 3.8 train. If the entire film had the same lighting as the underwater scenes, it'd be a 4 and higher, maybe.
okay, yeah.
You need to spend like another year on lighting.
I mean, they have 3 years now before the next one, so we'll have to see what it looks like when they come back.
We'll have to see.
I'm wondering if there is a difference or if it just looks, because it feels like they've gotten to the point where they've stylized it enough where they're like you can add more detail to it, but you're not going to be changing things incredibly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see that. But yeah. Next up, we have the voice acting. This is Erica Lindbeck's final performance as Barbie. She does actually come back later in a different role, though.
You know, my thoughts on her are still the same. Good performance. I still don't fully see her as a Barbie, though.
Yeah, we've had this discussion. I think she's a good Barbie, but
Every film of hers, yeah.
no, this is also on the Barbie movie wiki. This is credited as the final movie to have Canadian voice actors. Doesn't specify Barbie movies, so I don't know if this is just the final movie ever to have Canadian voice actors. I'm assuming it means Barbie movies because I think most of the people who have worked on these Barbie movies have been in other movies since. I just thought it was a weird way to put it.
Yeah, I get it, though.
This is the last movie ever to have Canadian voice actors. After this, they were like, okay, no more.
They went extinct. All the
I mean,
studios shut down.
with what's going on with voice acting right now, that could be more likely than we want to think.
Uh, yeah,
Just in terms of like both the like AI increasing and then like the continued casting of celebrities in voice roles that they're maybe not suited to cough Chris Pratt as Mario Cough.
yeah. Also, there being less shows made for TV.
Yeah, the animation boom has kind of died down a bit because there was a short boom of like animation, especially like animation aimed at adults. That like now studios are starting to cancel their shows.
Yeah, shows are ending. There's been more animated films recently,
Yeah,
but
but a lot of those are again going to like celebrities instead of
yeah,
professional voice actors. Yeah, hopefully. You see, this is one of the things I like about these Barbie movies. Is it's like you can have the talent, the voice actors who come in and like are good at voice acting
mm-hmm.
and have work for them. And hopefully, maybe someday they'll move away from celebrity voice
Yeah,
actors in
and
every
we
role.
we still have anime dubs to have these voice actors in. I
Yep,
guess
that too. Video games,
in video games, yeah,
even though celebrities are starting to make a dent there, but
and all the
no celebrity is going to record like 60 hours of dialogue.
yeah, really, it's just Walla, all the background characters. Those are where the voice actors come in.
Yeah, but yeah, it definitely feels like there are shifts going on in the industry.
Cameo. That's where they make their money now.
Yeah, is that going to be the future of like voice actors? Is doing impressions of other voices?
Oh, that'd be a shame
It would be a shame.
because they're so against that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, the voice acting was fine.
yeah. Again, I like that the puppies never spoke.
Mm,
I I, I appreciated that.
yeah, there's
But
really no
hell,
one
listen
else
to
to
my
point out.
criticisms. Yeah, I'd be knowing. I should have looked at the cast before I watched this because knowing that Adrian Petru is playing Ken, I'm like, was I missing something in that performance? Was that sort of goofiness there? But it didn't stand out to me not knowing he was in the role. So it's like, if it was there, it wasn't very apparent.
Right. Also, like that Ken had so many great lines in general.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I need to rewatch Fairy Secret.
Eh, have at
Just
it.
the Ken parts.
Okay. Secret, secret.
Secret. Ah,
Yeah, I gave the
ah.
voice acting a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I also gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
Hmm.
Nothing stood out too much, but that's fine. So yeah, last up we have the music, which the score itself I thought was solid. Nothing really stood out to me.
Yeah, it was doable. But then they
The
reuse songs.
Yeah, so it starts at the very beginning.
Yeah, the film opens and I hear this song and I'm like, I've heard this song before.
Yeah, and then it's like
Am I watching the wrong film? What's going
I
on?
know it was like, wait, why are they do like that's such a weird way to start your movie of
It
like here's
is.
the song from like 2 movies ago,
By the way, here's a mermaid.
and then
Is
they cut out like right before or like right as they hit the chorus they like fade it out.
Yeah. And then I think they play some of the song a couple times again in the film.
Yep, and they play another song from an earlier Barbie movie as well. I think let me double check which ones they play. I think they play one song from Starlight Adventure and one from Puppy Chase.
Yeah, because music and sound effects is typically the last thing that they'll do in post
Yeah.
production. So maybe they were rushed and so they had to.
Again, I wonder if, they're getting ready for this big TV show. I wonder if this is just like it wasn't a priority.
Perhaps, yeah.
So yeah, So Beautiful, that's the song from Starlight Adventure. Oop, I just lost that.
Was it
Yep.
Starlight
And then
Adventure?
the other one is Live in the Moment, and that's from Puppy Chase.
Yeah, because the Starlight Adventure one was playing. I was thinking, this music is kind of weird. It's not quite fitting this vibe.
No, because it's all about like the stars are so beautiful and they're
Uh huh.
underwater.
Yeah.
It's like, um, I think you're looking in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Look up, not down.
Yeah, the live in the moment is the nothing can get in the way, nothing can tear us down. We're gonna celebrate, we're gonna sing out loud. That's the one they start with,
Right.
and then the other one is the one which let me find the lyrics here. I don't know these by memory. Oh yeah, no. Here's just some lyrics from this one that they're playing while they're scuba diving. Look at the sky. The stars have finally aligned. We're lighting up the dark tonight, and it's so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. As they're
Wonderful.
scuba diving in the day.
Great. It's lovely. Yes.
Which okay, fine. Save the money on the songs. Focus on the TV show. It's just a little tacky.
Yeah. Quite.
I think the one original song that they have is kind of cute, where they're using the coconuts. And
Sure.
Ken is drumming on the table and it sounds like a drum,
Yeah.
not a table.
I don't know if I'd use that for this film, but sure. Yeah.
If it weren't the only original song for this movie, I think it would work a bit better. But
Probably.
it
Yeah.
is all about, like, I guess it's all about sisters, and the sisters are, like, kind of the focus, but not really.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. All of the original songs also kind of have that, like, generic sort of like poppy, but not too memorable vibe.
Hmm.
Which is because we did the last few movies they've been getting songs from the Math Club, which is a company that writes original songs for movies and trailers.
Yeah.
So they kind of all have similar vibes. But yeah, anyway, I gave the music a 3 out of 5.
I gave it a 3.3. It was still fine, but it's really the reuse of songs that brought mine down.
Yeah, same with my score. So yeah, that leaves me with a final score of 16.5 out of 25, which is a 66% or a 3.3.
Mm. And mine's a 16.6, which is a 66.4% and a 3.32 5-star rating.
Yep, so our average is 16.55, which is a 66.2 or a 3.31.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but this is pretty low on all of our lists, which for me, it's just like I'm so ambivalent about this. Like, I don't dislike it enough to like say it deserves to be at the bottom, but I don't like it enough to say it deserves to be higher than it is.
Yeah. It's fine where it's at.
Yeah. I, it feels weird to have it at the place at the list right now that I'm not going to spoil because we're doing our rankings soon enough. But
Mm-hmm.
like when I see it, I'm like, oh, that's a bit low. But then I look above it and I'm like, but none of the movies above it are worse than it.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I don't know. This is just kind of like it exists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it exists. For me, it's like the puppy chase. It exists. I've seen it. I don't feel like watching it again. So,
I mean, to be fair, I don't feel like watching Puppy Chase again either. But I Puppy Chase had more substance to it.
uh-huh.
But yeah, you can listen to our episode if you want to hear more about my thoughts on Puppy Chase, a movie that
Yeah.
I don't particularly enjoy, but I
And
thought was
I don't really have
interesting.
much to say about, so.
Yep, I was doing some of the heavy lifting in that episode.
Yeah.
To be fair, that was like we were literally binging Barbie. We were doing what 8 episodes in nine
Yeah.
days.
And that was towards the end.
Yep.
We were kind of burnt out.
Now we're back, and I don't know. I'm not feeling reinvigorated after this movie. I'm just like neutral.
Yeah, it's a different era, so we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram, at Binging Barbie on Twitter, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. We'll be back next week to talk about Barbie, Princess Adventure.
Yeah. My joke with this one, which I was sharing with John before we started recording, is that you could call half of these Barbie movies Barbie Princess Adventure.
And I wouldn't question it.
Yeah. No, it's like Princess and the Pauper, Rapunzel, Magic of Pegasus, obviously. 12 Dancing Princesses, that could be Princess Adventure. Island Princess could be Princess Adventure. Mermaid Tale, that could technically be Princess Adventure because she is a princess. Princess and the Pop Star, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Pink Shoes, I think you could fudge that one. Mariposa and the Fairy Princess.
Oh,
The Pearl Princess.
rock and roll.
The Secret Door. Princess Power.